Yes, and good evening. As always, ladies and gentlemen, this is the book report edition of the Cinemacolor podcast. I'm your host, Patrick Brennan, Esquire, and the fourth. And my host, as always, co-hosting with me, Robert McCullough the first. Robert, give your
Rob.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's some curriculum vitae you got there, Lord Rob. Well done. Yeah, this is the Journey to Bantam Star Trek novel podcast, episode 11, if you can believe it, Rob. This is our 11th episode of the Star Trek novels. We only have a couple more left in the Bantam series, and then it's time to transition over. I hear transitioning is all a big thing these days, so that's what we're going to do.
Yeah, I think they're teaching it to fourth graders, planting the seed, and then we missed that. But yeah, it'll be fun to head over into Pocket Land, which is our more familiar territory. Right. But this has been a fun jaunt.
Yeah, for sure. And today's jaunt is funner and shorter and breezier than the last one. The last one, if you were with us last time, and of course, who wasn't with us last time, ladies and gentlemen, that's right. We did a podcast on The Fate of the Phoenix, which was the sequel to The Price of the Phoenix, which was both of them. It's like the first one was they pulled all your top teeth, and then the second one they pulled all your bottom teeth. It was great. It's like you're just kind of like sit in a stunned stupor for like a week after reading it, because it's just like I can't go on.
The one book we would have wished they didn't make a sequel of, that's the one they picked.
That's right. But tonight we're getting not a sequel per se, but our second book by Gordon Eklund, who had already written The Starless World. And I'm not going to lie, this felt a lot like The Starless World in several times.
One with the Dyson Sphere?
It is the Dyson Sphere, that's right. So Gordon Eklund wrote one about the Dyson Sphere, and people acting all weird on the inside of a hollow planet, and now we're going to have something somewhat similar to that this time.
Yeah.
That's right. This was published in November 1979. As I said, Gordon Eklund, 153 pages. Our mission, as I see it, is to reunite a senso artist with her long-lost father, Jacob Kell, who just happens to be a traitor and escaped to the planet Heartland, where he is hiding out. That's a planet where it's quarantined because all the colonists went mad there. And but if you ask me, the most interesting thing we find out about this episode, or this book, it feels like an episode, right? The most interesting thing we learn about this, and you can tell me what your thoughts are, Chapter 1. Does Kirk think magic's real? I mean, that's a big character turn if it's like, oh yeah, by the way, what if he really did saw that girl in half? I don't want to know, man.
That's a good point. Oh God, who is the guy they used to make fun of on Saturday Night Live? The magician, not Copperfield, but Doug Henning.
Yeah, Doug Henning, yes.
Yeah, that's who I was trying to picture during this. Yeah, it's fun. This book does feel like an episode, and it, there's it pains me that I no longer just remember the names of the episodes right off the top of my head, but the Shakespearean one,
yeah,
season, where they're
Conscience of the King,
play.
yeah,
Thank you. Yeah, I like that they do stuff like this. It also reminded me a little bit of Wolf in the Fold when they go out and have a drink and they're, blinking lights and whatnot. And so I like the idea of them going to a magic show, as ludicrous as that sounds.
Well, and I'm cool with the magic show. There's a couple things in this novel that just felt like, it might have helped that, while I was taking notes, I was watching Goldfinger, and it might have helped that a lot of times, people learned about things that happen in other places in the world by watching James Bond movies. And it felt like they're like, yeah, you know what? Magic shows were big in the late 70s, and it's 1979. So we're going to put a magic show at the start of this. And, Chinese food was a big thing. Try Chungking for your beautiful body. If you remember those ads, that's very exciting. And so that we're going to have a Chinese feature. And by the way, you know what else took America by storm for like 2 years in the late 70s? Giantism. That's right.
Yeah.
Actually, that may not have.
Great.
I was like, is this guy like trying to recruit us to Jainism? I don't know what's going on here. It's like we spent a lot of the first couple chapters learning about Jainism, which is great. It's an actual religion in the world that we live in. But it was weird.
What month did the motion picture come out? It had to be right around this.
December 1979 is when the motion picture came out. So
I would think this book might have got a little extra notice or hype.
People are like, oh, yeah, maybe they thought this was the novelization of it or whatever. Can you imagine you read this novel and you think that's the movie you're going to go see? Yeah, I can imagine that. Oh yeah, I just read that book and I'm going to go see the movie. And wait, what's going on? Where's all the little 3-foot tall copper colored guys with the horns and the tusks and why isn't somebody running around nude and it's like I don't know. I mean the whole V'ger thing is there in both of them basically, but it's a computer the size of a planet. But I'm getting ahead of myself, Rob.
But the idea of Kirk sort of somewhat buying in is fun to a magic show, and then having Spock being like, no, he's totally not. I could see that in an episode.
That's true, and it's like because there's a moment where they're all clearly in on the thing, and then it's like, oh, then the girl stands up, and he's like, oh, there's at least a little bit of like subtle relief when you realize, oh man, she's actually gonna walk. That must mean it was all fake. Yeah, I was like, yes, it's fake. They're not letting people slice and dice people in front of Starfleet captains for their own enjoyment. I hope not.
Well, what else is fun too is Kirk never believes it when someone says they're a god or this is a trick. Right? He always thinks there's an explanation, and there is.
Yep.
But to take the magic show just at face value is kind of a fun.
Yeah.
Makes me think he's a little overworked.
So can I ask you what is a senso artist? If you had to guess what the modern equivalent of a senso artist, what do you think it is?
I would say Pink Floyd at the Seattle Center with the laser lights, maybe.
I was going to go pole dancer. I like your explanation better. So that's good. The pole dancer kind of is what I was thinking. Maybe it's because one of the alternate covers for this book, the one, not the cover that I have, but with alternate covers is a girl that's like, presumably supposed to be our love interest of this episode, Gilla Dupree. The sensory artist. She's the Shakespeare of her field, is what they describe her as. It's like Spock says, "You're one of my top 3 humans of all time." I got Shakespeare at 1. I got what did he have at 2?
Boys at 2.
It wasn't Voltaire. It was Tolstoy at 2, and then I got Gilla Dupree. I mean, 1, 2, 3. And again, what have we learned in our recent Star Trek episode reviews? We've learned don't have a hero and don't meet that hero.
Do you know why I didn't say stripper or whatever you said, pole dancer?
Because you have class? Yeah, I get
No,
it.
because there's no currency in the 23rd century, which we have established.
That's right.
So a senso artist would not make, you can't throw credits up on the...
You're just doing it for the love of the game. You're not doing it for the dollar bills at that point, right? So, maybe on some planets, paper airplanes are like currency or whatever, and so you make a paper airplane and you throw it onto the stage and stuff like that.
You're doing it for the blinks.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the blinky light.
Ding, 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 ding. Yeah, it's exciting. Don't have to tell this old Aberdeen pub crawler how to do it. All right, so, listen, so we're also going to meet... an admiral. We meet Admiral Shang, and we meet Admiral Shang's layabout son of an admiral, Albert. Albert gets his star turn. Albert gets more to do in this novel than Sulu does, and more than Chekhov does, and more than Uhura does. But again, that feels natural, right? That was very often how an original series episode went, right? It's like guest stars. We're focusing on the guest stars instead of developing our bridge crew and stuff like that. We just don't get enough.
And I actually could picture this asshole doing that. Like, hey, what's up, Captain? And it's like...
he's like, and the captain's like, yeah, I liked you better the first time when you were Lieutenant Bailey, but it's cool. It's fine. Yeah. And the Danans, we have to talk about the Danans. Again, I thought they'd be more yogurt-like, but instead they're devils, I guess. And again, what's going on with the devils? Is this Is this another late 70s kind of Kiss motif kind of thing that's going on here? Are they going Gene Simmons is having a great influence on Gordon Eklund's life or something like that?
Could be, as he might have gone into his kid's room and seen the posters and heard a little Peter Criss solo album on the record player.
That's right, exactly. Oh yeah, I think
the villains in my next.
Yeah. So anyway, but I will say this about it. This did come across as a bit of like an episode of the series. There are some times that I'm sitting there going, I'm going to pick some nits with him here, and I was like, no. This is actually how the TV series did episodes sometimes, right? It's so can't be too hard on him for that. So we should not be too hard on him for it. I will say that they don't do a whole lot of backstory for any of the characters that we have grown to love. We don't learn much new about any of them, I don't think. We have learned some tidbits. This is like the author's chances, like to fill in a backstory. You have two choices in these novels. You can either fill in a backstory or you can rid the galaxy of Klingons for 1,000 years. Yeah. And I think after the first novel, they learned that lesson in this. So now they're like, let's do backstory or not. Let's, that's fine too. Well,
I hope the direction that Gordon got was don't do whatever the hell those two bitches are doing with all the federotic
federotic
nonsense.
Auto-federotic, yes. That's pretty brutal. So we get to meet some security crewmen, Doyle and Mosley. One of them hangs around a little longer than the other. One of them's Rigelian, and we know some Rigelians, right? The Rigelians were the miners from Mud's Women. They were Rigelians. They were Rigel 4 or Rigel 6 or one of the Rigels.
Yeah, one of them.
Keenan Ivory Rigel, Damon Rigel, one of the Rigels. I don't know. So let's see. What else do we get? We get some Scotty. Scotty's in charge of the ship for a lot of the time, but we do not spend hardly any time on that ship. It's almost all down on the planet. So they do say world right in the name of the book. And I think we've found that whenever they say world, and how many, we've done 11 books now, and I bet, let's see, I'm just counting the number 10, world without ends, Starless World, Devil World, a Mad World. I mean, 4 of the 11 books had the word world in the title. I mean, that's a motif right there. It's a recurring theme. It's Spocks and worlds and exclamation points is really kind of what they're selling in these first 11 novels. So,
and let's hit it.
Let's do it. All right. So when we open, we are at the aforementioned. Oh, we're not actually, are we? We have a prologue. Why don't you tell us about the prologue?
Well, the Enterprise is getting shore leave. I believe that's. I think is it shore leave? I can't read my writing. They're getting maintenance.
Yes.
At Starbase 13, and they're going to take shore leave.
That's right.
I was like mainframe, Mark Cave. Yeah, so it's maintenance. And this is where we have Kirk, Spock, and Bones at the aforementioned magic show, and there's nice banter. And Dr. Faustus saws the chick in half, and then for some reason he says to make a dozen demons appear, and a beautiful woman sits down next to Kirk. Now, did you say you did not have the cover with the chick on the front?
No.
The one I was reading did have that, and she looked pretty good. She looked like...
is the girl in the red dress, or is it the girl in the silver?
No, the one I have...
the red dress girl?
No, she's... Well, I don't know if she has a red dress. Let me see here. Hold on.
Yeah, in this case, Sulu inexplicably is on the cover of this book. He's got like 3 lines in this book.
I have one of these.
That's not it either, yeah.
The one I read was this one. Yeah, the red dress.
The red dress, yeah.
Kind of Sean Young.
She's the devil in the red dress right there. Devil with a red dress on. So, yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking I was picturing Sean Young a little bit.
I think that works. Sean Young definitely works for sure.
Which cover did you have again? I'm just curious. I want to see.
Which version did I have? I had a version that has the girl in silver on a throne, which is a bit of a spoiler. And
that's kind of a cool cover.
And then Kirk on the cover and Sulu's on the cover. Yeah, Sulu is in the landing party, and there are mud huts, and that's about all that I can say about that cover. That, and it spoils the ending. But that's cool. So, yeah, they're down in this is what else I wrote down. I'm always on the lookout for new beverages. McCoy gives Kirk a little bit of trouble for having too many space riggers' delights. and another out of character thing is that Kirk says, McCoy, you got to learn how to live a little. I did not ever get the sense that McCoy was not living it up enough.
He must have been ironically there. But
Leonard McCoy, fuddy-duddy, never occurred to me. I say that. So
yeah, the thing I didn't understand about the prologue was why Dr. Faustus, after doing a pretty generic trick, decides to make a dozen demons appear.
Yeah.
That seemed random, but I suppose it's supposed to...
I mean, Faustus is that's a Faustus
yeah.
thing to do, right? Faust is a very, there's demons and stuff like that. I learned that from Tombstone, I think. Faust is the doctor makes the devils appear. Yeah, so there's a little bit of that. Yeah, it's weird. Again, I don't know how much more generic you can get. Is like it was either make devils appear or he could pull a quarter out of Kirk's ear, or I don't know what else he could have done at that point. Yeah, I'm going to make the Statue of Liberty disappear after these messages. That's right. Yeah, so it's interesting. So the girl sits down, and I said that end of chapter 1 was the pretty girl alert, right? She sits down, and then she's wearing a mask, and they're like, I wonder why she's wearing a mask.
That was kind of funny, wasn't it?
Yeah, ripped from today's headlines. Yeah, everybody else in there thinks COVID's over, but she is actually. It's interesting because we learn Spock speculates she could be a Jane, which is weird. That he would just go there, but he's completely right. So he nails it. And of course, the reason you wear a mask is you don't want to kill all those conscious living things that are COVID viruses, and so you don't want to absorb them into your body where your immune system will kill them off. So you want to protect them by making them bounce harmlessly off of your mask. So but it's all good. Yeah. So and it's interesting. So. The girl once those demons come out, the girl starts freaking out pretty hard, doesn't she?
Well, and there was an interesting description of the demons as these disgusting, stinking, hideous demons. They're making people are throwing up, and
Kirk is viscerally affected by it. So you get the sense that it's more than just they're ugly and they're smelly. It's kind of like like something that's just so not right that it makes you just disquieted for their being there. So, and I don't know. Is there a connection between these guys being like appeared by this Dr. Faustus magician guy, and we're going to see aliens that look just like demons later on? Is there any connection at all, or is it just a coincidence?
We are going to meet creatures that look like demons, but I don't know. It seems a little disconnected, other than it gives a nice setup because she goes, "You took my father," and then she slips on a banana peel as she's charging the slave, the stick, and then needs medical attention.
Yeah, tell us about it. Yeah,
it's a way to introduce us to her and make us go, what's going on there? But I don't know that there was any actual connection to anything other than. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of strange. It was kind of a weird setup, honestly.
Yeah.
But I liked it. I'm in. After 2 chapters in, I'm hooked. I'm like, all right.
Well, that's cool. Well, so yeah, when they finally wake her up, because she passes out, when they finally wake her up, McCoy's assumption is that she just needs to eat a sandwich or something. Spock was right. She's a Jane. And then she says she doesn't really eat much besides things much more complex than rice. I was like, oh, my buddy Rob is just like that. It's my buddy Rob. I didn't know you're a Jane at all. I did, but apparently that's the thing. You could be without having to do much of lifestyle change. Is what I'm saying.
That's true, but I'm not wasting away to nothing. I'm still staying at the stocky 208. And we should tell people it's Jain.
Yeah,
right?
Jane. I said Jane. It's definitely Jane, or I don't know how to pronounce it. It's an actual. It's not a made up thing. It's an actual offshoot of Hinduism religion from Earth history. So, which
was kind of fun, and that's where we find out that she is a multiple world famous senso artist.
Yes.
And she's looking for Dad. So. Yep.
She got daddy issues. Who saw that? Yeah. By the way, I did write down that it's a red flag in the Trek world when you're galaxy renowned in your field, right? It's like at some point you're going to be trying to turn Kirk into a robot or something.
Or you're going to be the next Joe Biden mumbling into a microphone.
Nazis. Yeah, something like that. So they decide Kirk finds out that she's looking for her dad, and so Kirk immediately is like, I'll be your Uber driver. Where do you want to go? I got a Starship. You should see my Starship. I got a 4.9 rating on Lyft, baby. I'm where it's at.
The maintenance wasn't that critical if Kirk can just take it on a... I mean, you get the impression, right? The crew's still on shore leave, mostly. Right?
Yeah, right.
He's just taking... He's like, yeah, we'll run over to the quarantine planet. Or what? I'm getting ahead of myself. But yeah, it was kind of weird. Oh, yeah. we can totally use the flagship of the Federation to help you find Pop.
Just hop on Pop, that's right. Or Pop can hop on, as it were. But first, before they go, he has a little business about having to meet with the Admiral. Admiral Shang, who's bored as hell.
Commodore.
Is he a Commodore? Why did I say Admiral? Yeah, he's a Commodore. I guess maybe it's an Admiral, maybe it's a Commodore. I think the difference is, I don't know. One of them is like 15% the worst, more than the other one. So Shang's like bored as hell as a Starbase commander. Kirk's like, I don't know, you got it pretty easy and stuff like that. And it turns Shang used to be a captain, right? Now he's been kicked upstairs. We know that Kirk's not going to like that when it comes his turn. So that's exactly right. But Kirk says he wants to go to the quarantine planet Heartland because he's looking for a guy who's breaking quarantine, right? So we got to go there and find out what's going on. And it comes up in conversation that maybe, Gilla's dad is actually. Do you know who he is? You know who Gilla's dad is? He's Jacob Kell. And they're like, no, not the Jacob Kell. And it's like, yeah, the Gilla. Her dad is the Jacob Kell. Same guy,
not
right?
The notorious scumbag Jacob Kell.
Yeah, the guy who what do you call it? Defected to the Klingon Empire.
Not Benedict Cumber Jacob Kell.
I'm going to give you half credit for that. That's right. All right. So he's that Jacob Kell. But she made quite an impression, and so the Admiral says, yeah, all right, well, you have my blessing. I think it's worthwhile. Obviously, it's part of our job to police the quarantine. If you're going to go there and bring him in, that's fine. But I have a favor to ask.
Wait, Butch, why is Kell so notorious?
Well, it turns out that he was a starship captain. He lost his crew and then became disaffected by the Federation, and he defected to the Klingon Empire. And and that is kind of like he went all guy who defects to the Russian to the Soviet Union, right?
Sure, it's been done. Yeah, it's pretty unthinkable for most, especially for most Star Trek fans. But I'm sure people in the Federation are like, why would you go? Yeah. So
maybe Gach. I don't know. Maybe Gach's your thing. I don't know. You ever have a Raktajino, a Klingon coffee? Apparently, is where it's at. If you watch DS9.
Tremendous, but
yeah. So he's got to take on a bit of excess baggage in the form of the Commodore's son, Albert, who's gotten into a bit of a pickle here and there. He's a bit of a ne'er-do-well. He needs a good role model, and the Commodore doesn't think that he's the right guy to do the job, but he's sure that Kirk is the right guy to be the role model.
He's like Gilligan, basically. He's just kind of a putz.
Yeah, he's a putz, and we're not going to have to wait long before we get to see him. So then we're back in the ship, and we're heading to Homeland or whatever.
Well, so not only is Kirk agreeing to take Albert in for this favor of getting to go to this forbidden planet, but also your personal steward is my dipshit son, is what he's saying.
That's right.
Yeah. So that's fun. And I put and I wrote here, so far this book is lots of fun and everybody's in character. So I was pretty happy through the first 4 chapters here.
There you go. Well, yeah, and so, Kirk's always complained about having a female yeoman. Well, that's what you asked for. That's what you get. So now he's back on the bridge where he belongs, I wrote. He's the emperor on his throne. That's kind of how he's describing it, right? He's like, it's not as fun when you're on a starbase and you're not the guy in charge. There are people that can tell you what to do give you orders. On the starship, you're the king of the castle. King of the castle.
Although, I will say, Butch, when you're on a starbase, you can get some nice R&R on some lovely
planets. Yes, exactly.
So,
well done. It's a good line for sure. So so they're on their way. There's a I'm gonna say the outline of an amusing story that Chekhov is telling Sulu on the bridge. I can't believe this is like 6 pages of my life I'm never going to get back. It's like, man, does this drag on? And then they really scare me because it's a story about, Ivan the Magnificent and the bear. The Pavel wants the bear to eat Ivan the Magnificent. In exchange, he promises there will be no more bears in Russian zoos. And I have no idea what the hell's going on. It was 6 pages. I read it twice. And I still don't get it. But
it was 4% of the book was spent on this story. I guess establishing a little bit of Chekhov's character as,
With very few exceptions, it's more than Chekhov's had to do in almost all the other novels combined.
Yes, and it's kind of fun because Sulu's suitably annoyed. And also, oh, by the way, Kirk's going to dine with Gilla. What a surprise.
Yeah, who saw that? In my quarters. I'm going to have some dinner in my quarters. You know what we're ordering? You know what we're ordering? Teriyaki. That's right. It's going to be teriyaki. That's right. It's General So. Yeah. Chicken sub gum without the chicken. I don't know. Yeah, whatever. I'm trying to think of some of the old, like, 70s sounding Chinese food. My very first, I still remember the very first time I had Chinese food. I still remember. We drove 3 hours to Billings, Montana, which was 3 hours from my home. That was the closest Chinese restaurant probably there was at the time. Billings was a big town of 50,000 at the time. And we went, and all I remember is standing by the cash register as we're leaving, and I'm eating a piece of steak teriyaki, which is just basically beef on a skewer, and I'm eating it. I would tell that story for years and years about how I had steak teriyaki at a restaurant, because it was years and years and years and years and more years before I ever ate at a Chinese restaurant again.
Well, I'm glad you brought this up because I think my first memory of a Chinese restaurant might have been 1979.
Yeah, I think this is probably 78 for me, but yeah.
Yeah, and we were visiting my dad's parents in Linwood, and we went to and Chinese restaurants were like this for 30 years, but it was the very I don't know. I guess what do you call it? With the kind of stereotypical. You got your lanterns and the decor was pretty much the same no matter where you went. Chinese restaurant, but it was nice too. It was considered sort of semi-fine dining. Mm-hmm. Whereas now it's like, I guess we could go to that Chinese dump. I think there's one still around. But I remember that my grandfather, we had barbecue pork as an appetizer, and my grandfather did the whole, take a nice big scoop of the mustard. That's right. So that was good stuff, and I enjoyed it. I'm sure it burned quite a lot, but I do remember that, and that was quite a nice memory with my grandparents.
Yeah, for sure. It's just one of those things there. It's funny how I remember that. Like it was like eating something you would have seen on a Star Trek episode. It was so foreign to the kind of food that I ate at the time, which was like macaroni and cheese and fried chicken and cabbage rolls and nothing remotely like Chinese food and stuff like that. And that's it felt like when he's writing this, it's like, oh yeah, I'm dining with the captain in his quarters on a starship with a valet or a steward or whatever, and it's like, and they take the thing off and it's Chinese food, and you're like, wow, the readers are going, wow, that's like something they would do in the far future, and you're like, yeah, it's like now Chinese food is so passé, it's weird.
Yeah, it's funny because in Bellingham you can barely get Chinese food; it's all Thai food.
Yeah, where's your pho restaurant?
Yeah, we got about 4 of them. We probably have a dozen Thai. Actually, we probably have 20 Thai restaurants. There might be 2 Chinese restaurants. But I know when Darlene and I went to San Francisco for our honeymoon, we went to a couple of Chinese restaurants. We went to one in Chinatown, which, it was up on like it had a nice view of the bay and everything, but there's pictures of Sinatra and stuff on the wall, like almost like an old Italian restaurant would have.
Yeah.
But it's and it was way overpriced and not that great. And then later we went to this is more the residential area, kind of by the Presidio on the backside of Golden Gate Park.
Yeah.
To an authentic Chinese restaurant where we ate chicken feet.
Yes, I remember you telling me about chicken feet.
Chicken's feet, and we ate jellyfish. And because the menu was in Chinese, Butch.
So you're ordering, you don't know what you're
So
ordering.
I about $70 on food we really couldn't hardly eat, and it was pretty fun. It was and that was a lot of fun. So yeah, good stuff there.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, by the way, if they were eating chicken's feet and jellyfish on this story, that would have seemed like something space age for sure. But of course they can't, because jellyfish are sentient creatures, and so I like how she describes it. It's okay to eat this food that's before her because she didn't kill this food. Somebody else did. And I was like, man, if that's your out, why are you not eating steak? No, somebody else killed that cow.
I thought that was pretty weak.
Yeah, it's weak sauce, but it works. Again, because Kirk's like, man, that was my big move. Is my big swagger move is going to be like the Mugu Gai Pan. Come on, man.
Well, it's like I'm sure she has a bunch of stolen merchandise in her home too. Because hey, she didn't steal it; she just bought it from somebody, right? So where's the harm?
I didn't. It's not me who stole it. I just bought it. That's right. So they have a lovely dinner, and then at some time during the dinner, they talk about they move to the couch. And then Kirk tells her about Heartland, which is a planet where where her dad's on, and about the Danons who lived there. And there was a colony that was originally there, but everyone went insane. And then he takes her to the herbarium, and I know somewhere I said herbarium in a microphone, and I know somewhere Jay's like going, "What? Huh? That sounds interesting. Tell me more about this herbarium."
I'm sure there's some burying.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then of course Spock, and then he gets Spock blocked by the communicator, going, "Hey, by the way, we've reached our destination, so you should come up here."
Oh, I think you skipped something, Butch. Though she also told the real story about her dad.
Oh yeah, let's hear it.
So her dad had been he was the captain, I believe. I'm not looking at my notes. I'm letting the cat in. Her dad had been let me see here. He was the captain of a starship.
Yep.
And he got stranded in space alone for 27 days, sort of like Kirk did in the Tholian Web. Although somehow he must have had food on him or something. I don't know how that works. But he was completely alone.
He had one of those Dune still suits, is what he had, dude.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, he pissed in his suit and it would turn into a burger for him to eat, I guess. I don't know.
You can survive for 27 days without food. You can. It's
Is that true?
Yeah, I mean, like 30, 35 days about the extension of it. But yeah.
And I guess, he was okay for oxygen.
Yeah, and probably as long as his Zune didn't run out of battery power, he had something to listen to. So there's that.
So anyway, the extreme sensory deprivation took a mental toll on him, and when he returned back to Earth or whatever planet, he was uncomfortable around people to the point where he just couldn't take it. And the Klingons made him an offer like, "Hey, you can have your own planet, pal, and we're going to use you for propaganda purposes."
Yep.
And that's why he left. It wasn't that he was a traitor. He just was so traumatized by this event, which was somewhat heroic.
And that planet they offered him, Ukraine. Swear to God. True story.
Yeah. So it was kind of I thought it was an interesting story. I'm not sure I was buying it entirely, but it was cool, something different.
Yep. A traitor is a big news, right? I mean, that's something you're right. You're like, how would anybody go from this to that? What would be their possible? And he just wants to get away from it all. And they offered him what he wanted, which isn't not necessarily what they typically would offer, but they just somebody who was willing to jump at whatever chance to get away from it all, as it were.
And he had kind of a cool reason for doing it, kind of a unique reason for wanting to be left alone. And but yeah, the long and the short of it, like you said, is now he's on this forbidden planet. Is planet forbidden? Because it's a planet full of demons.
Yeah. I hear him new. Yes, he says. Yeah, that's pretty good. So they arrive at the planet, and now there's kiss goodbye in the herbarium, and then they arrive at the planet. It's Class M. This is like Uhura's like one chance to like, hey, by the way, can I get like a scene? And they're like, yeah, but you just get to like say you're trying to dial them up or whatever, and you can't get a hold of them. Okay, it's the usual. Okay, that's great. So they do get some information about the Danon population. It used to be 400 of them, and now there's 100 of them. And Spock's essentially saying, yeah, the population is too low. They can't sustain themselves. They're going to die out.
Well, they're a dying race that's been around forever, and at one time they ruled like half the galaxy or something.
Till the snails arrived. Yes, exactly. But we don't get there until very late in this book. So
now there's only a few hundred left. They're nearly extinct. And the human colony that landed there 40 years ago went mad within a year, and now it's quarantined. Off you must fuck.
It's like they made a trek to Mad World or something. Yeah.
Yeah,
off you must fuck. That's very nice.
Yeah.
All right. So then they do make contact with somebody eventually. It's not the guy they're trying to get a hold of. It's some guy named Remy Bates, who's one of the original colonists. And they're like, I thought you guys were all crazy. It's like, well, not really so much. And then they asked him if he knows a Kel, and he says, of course I do. He's with the Danons.
I enjoyed the fact that they're on this planet where everybody goes mad, and the one guy there is Bates. I thought that was kind of fun.
I didn't even think of it that way, but yeah, we all go a little crazy, a little mad sometimes, don't we?
Yeah, that cannot be an accident. That's the one thing everybody. If you hear the word Bates, you think Norman Bates.
That was definitely probably true in 1969 for sure. But that was still fresh in everybody's memory.
79, but still.
This is 79. You're right. This is 19 years later, but yes, that's true. So they decide that they're going to go down, and Gilla really wants to go, but McCoy says that might not be a good idea medically, but it's probably a good idea for her psychologically. So when they decide to beam down, they're going to be joined by Gilla. I'm going to call her the Magilla Gorilla, Gilla Gorilla or whatever. So, so Kirk, Spock, and Bones, Natch, and then they bring Sulu, and then the two security guys, Mosley and Doyle, and Gilla, and Kirk's got to have a valet down there, so Albert's going along with him, to Prince Albert in a can as well. So
how many times did we say this when we used to watch the original show? You have a planet that's very dangerous, right?
Yep.
This planet is considered so dangerous, you're not allowed to go there. So,
quarantine, yeah.
Of course, you're going to beam down the whole command team.
Yep, and the guest star. I mean, come on, the guest star, really. But in fairness, they took every precaution necessary. They beamed down at least one guy in a red shirt. That's who's the bad stuff's going to happen to. So we're all set. So that's great. They beam down there, and then they immediately start looking for the guy they're after. But of course, they got to find Bates first, and they meet him, and they meet his piker. What did you think the piker looked like? If you had to try and describe his Lulu, his piker, they keep mentioning that there were a bunch of carpets and that one of them was her. And I keep thinking, and when I hear walking carpet, I think of Chewbacca, a Wookiee. It's not a Wookiee.
I was thinking of, like Spock's pet Sailot or something.
Yeah.
Some big kind of large. I was thinking. I don't remember. It's been 2 weeks since I read this.
I was looking at it tonight. They don't really describe it. So
So I don't know if I just thought of it that way or they described it that way, but it seemed like kind of an oversized cat bear thing.
Yeah, there you go. The 6-inch fangs. That's right. All right. So he's going to help. Bates and Lulu are going to help him go to the Danon village. I think. Maybe they will. Or maybe they're going to abandon him on the way. It's hard to tell. So then when we arrive at the Danon village, maybe you could describe that for us, Rob.
Let's see. Let me find where that would be. Blobbity bloop. Well, my memory of the village. Oh, Well, and when they get to the Danon village, Bates on the way is warning that all the Danons do is lie, lie, lie. Don't listen to them. Talk to them.
Yep.
The Danons did something to make everybody go mad. You know. And so when they get to the village, Bates dips out.
He gone.
The Danons look like 3-foot tall devils. It gives Bones the willies, which I really enjoyed. And basically it's like some huts with a tower in the center, which luckily is pictured on my copy of the book.
Oh, come on. All I got's the damn huts. Look, all I got is the huts, no tower.
Well, I had to visualize the huts myself. Let me show you what this thing looks like. It looks like a giant Y with a bar across the top.
Oh, interesting. So, far east, Wonky Chewbacca.
You see that?
Yeah, it's a hut. Yeah, a tower rather, not a tower. Yeah, it's a tower, and it's almost as tall as the girl. So yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's like a Y.
Yeah.
And why is that important? I don't know.
I imagine it's like, when they give the artist, a commission to do a drawing of the book. I wonder how they decide. It's like the guy who did the cover of my book. Why did he decide to put Sulu on there? I don't know. Maybe he liked Sulu as a character and didn't read the book.
Why on Vulcan ! Are the big creatures depicted as giant ants when they're not quite that in the story? Yeah,
yes, they're certainly fuzzy ants and not just giant black ants, that's for sure. So yeah, all of this is true.
So there's a tower in the center of town, and the town is a bunch of huts. It's basically the town. And
they get there and they start trying to talk to the Danons, and the Danons are just like, what is it? Tight-lipped as a Aldebaran shellmouth. I'm going to keep using that one. Benedict Shellmouth. It doesn't work. That doesn't work.
I could just picture them, the Danons, every Christmas. Hello, White Tower. Hello, movie house. I don't know. Yeah, there didn't seem to be a lot going on in this town, but
it's pretty slow.
But yeah, when they get there, the about 100 Danons, and this town has a population of I think 109, so about 100 of them gather, and then Kel arrives. And I pictured Robert Shaw for him. Yeah,
with clean shaven because he's supposed to be big and bald. Yes.
But didn't you kind of picture? Who'd you picture?
Somebody bigger and larger than that. You know who I pictured, honestly, because they said big and bald, and so this is completely out of nowhere. But it's from 1979, and that's when I'm thinking the Battlestar Galactica miniseries. There's this guy who's played by an actor you would have known, but don't know the name of, and it's he played Sire Yuri or whatever. And I think we saw him in a Star Trek novel or a Star Trek episode or maybe one of the Bond movies or something, because I remember mentioning that he was Sire Yuri in Battlestar Galactica. He's just a big, large man who's bald. I focused on the bald part. So if you pictured Robert Shaw, you were not focusing on the bald part, because you would have gone Albert Finney from Annie. So I don't know. Or, Telly Savalas, I don't know. Because I was too locked into the bald part. It never would have occurred to me to go Robert Shaw. But yeah, I can. I should have, because at some point later, doesn't he start singing "Farewell and Adieu to You Fair Spanish Ladies" in like chapter 15 or something? Maybe. Okay. So anyway, carry on.
And then there was like one grinning Eddie Haskell Danon who invites the Enterprise crew to stay as guests.
Here's some robes and fruits, and my, don't you look lovely today, Mrs. Cleaver?
Yeah.
Yes. That's a good That's a good observation right there.
And his name is Dazzy.
Dazzy, yes. Dazzy the Danon. I wrote Dazzy the Danon dotes on them dutifully is what I wrote.
There you go. Yeah. And so we got Kirk, Bones, Gilla, and one security guard in one hut, and Spock, Sulu, Albert, and the other security guy in the other hut.
Mosley.
And then this is where we get the obligatory, and I thought this was hilarious. Kirk tells Gilla he's falling in love with her.
Yeah. We've actually, in fairness, they've probably known each other for the trip there, so a few days, right? This is pre-Kelvin universe, so they didn't arrive in 15 minutes. So yeah.
How many episodes does Kirk pronounced his love for somebody after, really, literally on date 1 or 2?
Oh, it's a lot more than it should be.
It's the Zephyrin Cochrane episode. Edith Keeler. That was at least
so sometimes he means it and sometimes he doesn't. But you can usually tell. Like the one with Shauna and the Gamesters of Triskelion. He pronounces his love for her, but I don't know that he really believes it. He's like, he's just side piecing at that point, right? He's like, I don't want to develop this into a relationship or anything like that. You get the sense that he's sad. Well, we're not going to spoil the ending of this. So, yeah. So, but yeah, at this point, he's professing his love for her, and she's like, well, I've got my career to think about, and we're here to get my dad, and I kind of got that iron in the fire, and so, yeah.
It's not out of character.
Yep. But you know what is weird, though? So, Sulu comes in and says, yeah, so Doyle is over in our cabana teaching Dazzy the Danon to play poker. And Kirk and McCoy are like, you Vulcans, you probably don't know anything about poker. And he's like, actually, poker's pretty popular among us Vulcans. And I'm like, no, it's not. You know why I know it's not? Because Spock had never heard of poker until the freaking Corbomite maneuver. But then I go, you know what? Maybe, just maybe, Spock mentioned it to his dad or something like that when they're convalescing in the sick bay after they had the blood transfusion thing, and he's like, yeah, by the way, there's this game that I learned from Kirk. It's why I admire him, is because it's this game called poker, and I imagine Sarek replied to that. What? That's exactly how I imagine Sarek said it too. Is that because that'd be a character.
Well, and with the steady decline in the last several decades of the magic show industry on Vulcan, they need something to sort of fill that void. So, yeah, I'm buying that. Poker tournaments.
For sure. So that it turns out that Dazzy the Danon cleans them out. And whatever money of Mosley's he didn't get, then Doyle got the rest of it. So Mosley's over there hanging out. And then McCoy does this whole kind of clever thing about, hey, we should maybe we should I should take a look at that mole on your back, kind of a thing. And and it's just an excuse to get out of the tent so they can give Kirk and Gilla some alone time or whatever. But I think I'm getting ahead of myself, because what actually happens is the night happens and there's the night watch kind of thing. So
yeah, well, it was a bizarre chapter. I mean, the thing with poker and Vulcans is fun, but way out of character for what we know about from the show.
That's right.
And it also doesn't have anything to do with anything.
Nothing other than poker. So
yeah, and then for some reason, crewman Doyle disappears during dipshit Shang's watch because he fell asleep.
Yeah.
And when they find Doyle, he's a mindless shell.
Gilligan! I mean,
yeah.
Albert Shang! Yep. Dipshit shell of his former self.
Yeah. So it still, to this point, feels like an episode, right? Because we've seen our crew be turned into mindless shells many times. Yep. You're not of the body, right? You know what I'm saying. So
absolutely. This has Return of the Archons all over it. This whole episode does, for sure. Yeah. So then at some point they ask what happened to Mosley. He's like, well, Doyle was listening to what the Danon was saying. He was saying something, and Doyle got interested. I'm assuming it was, he didn't go into detail. I'm assuming it was Scientology or something. And so Kirk threatens the Danon for Doyle's return, and he comes back with vacant eyes and naked. And Mosley wants revenge, like burning down villages in Saigon style revenge, kind of a thing. Yeah. But Bones decides Doyle is probably at this point beyond his help and is going to need to be institutionalized for the rest of his life unless they can fix him somehow.
Great.
Yeah, and then suddenly there's Kel, who shows up and says, "Told you so." By the way, you shouldn't leave. You should be leaving. But why aren't you leaving? And Kirk's like, "Because I don't back down from this, and I'm going to win this one." And I'm at this point, I'm going, "Is it really that big a deal that we stay here and try and get this guy to leave? What's the big deal? Why Why is he worried this much about this guy? I don't know.
Is he bothering? Nobody?
Yeah, he's not going to let this guy escape justice. And as you know, Kirk lives off the other people's taxes. So, yeah. Oh, sorry, I took the money and run there for a second.
Thank you. Yeah.
Cashless society, I know. Whatever. All right. So where are we, man?
All right, I've got, we got Kel showing off his paintings of outer space.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Space.
Yes.
Kind of fun. Kirk has moved. And we learned that Kel came to Heartland and sort of chose to join their collective.
The mental force.
Yeah, and he's immortal now. And then he talks about Nietzsche or whatever and will to power. And Kirk says, "I'm not leaving. I don't care what you're throwing a lot at me. Pyramid schemes, network marketing, whatever."
Ayn Rand books. It's all coming out of it.
I'm not going. But by the way, Kel, we're gonna they say, but amongst themselves, we're gonna snatch Kel and get him off the planet tomorrow because of the rules.
Put him in the bag. Looks like we'll put you in the bag.
Exactly. And then Kirk says, "Well, now that we've got the plan ironed out, how about you and me, Gilla, go for a walk and have some alone time?"
That's right. This is do 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 music. This
and
is when
and here's where the book starts to lose me. So 2/3 of the book, I was having fun, I was into it, but we're gonna limp to the end.
Yep.
You agree with me on that?
Actually, I do. Except I think we weren't exactly sprinting before. I was cool with it. It wasn't like a leaps and bounds. It was kind of like, it was a lovely walk through the forest.
You know what I think the turning point was? It's the poker business.
Yeah.
I can believe Kirk being really susceptible to magic shows. I can believe stinking demons. I can believe that Chekhov tells funny Russian bear stories. But when you tell me that Vulcans love poker, now you've planted seeds out in for me of your ability to write a book.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Vulcans would like the ability to calculate the odds real quick, but that's not. I think Kirk has taught us that that's not what poker's about, right? So yeah, I'll tell you. For me, when Doyle disappears and then comes back and he's a mental shell. I know Gordon Eklund didn't write Planet of Judgment, but that's what that felt like. I was like, that's just straight out of Planet of Judgment. That is.
Yeah. It felt to me like he's starting to kind of slap things from different episodes together.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I think that's a formula, right? We have a friend who we do a podcast with, our buddy Jay, and Jay says they kind of go back to the same 4 story beats over and over again. They just mix them up in different orders. And this is definitely feeling like an example of that, which I think is not necessarily true when he says it. So maybe it's because, we're reading it and we're kind of seeing it. If the producers got a hold of it, they would put a unique spin on it maybe and stuff like that for an episode, but we're not getting it here for so much as we should be, I guess.
Yeah.
Is this when Spock says the Force is here?
The Force is with you, Captain Kirk.
Well, I wrote I think that's one more chapter because they have a quiet dawn raid. And they snatch Kel.
Oh, yes, it's what Drawn is breaking. That's right.
But then the Danons show up en masse, and then I put the Force or whatever prevents the transporter from beaming everybody up.
Yeah.
By the way, Spock goes mad.
That we have seen that happen before, right? Where they vanish and then they just appear back there, and they're like, "What did nothing happen?" Right? It's like it's trying to work, it just won't work, right? It's beaming them out, and then it just beams them right back in, or whatever. And then Spock, for some reason, had tried to mentally mind meld with the Force, with the mental force, and now he's whacked out. Which is weird because say whatever you want about the Fate of the Phoenix books, Spock's got an iron will, right? I mean, that's the thing. He's got an iron will, and they're making it seem like our buddy Kel here is a mental giant and a mountain of a man, and that he has the intestinal fortitude to hold up to whatever it is that these guys are cooking, with their mind meld stuff. But Spock can't, and I'm like, really? So this guy's mentally tougher than Spock is? Really? Okay, it's fine.
Yeah, it's a little weird. It does feel like the apple a little bit too here with this,
Yeah.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised that the ship's engines aren't suddenly being drained or something.
Let's talk about that. It's weird that they're around a planet and nothing bad's happening to the ship, right? It's weird. It's like it's Scotty. I'm just calling. What's wrong, Scotty? Nothing's wrong. Just wanted to tell you I really care about you, Captain.
Are there some Klingons coming on?
Nah. Just here in orbit, holding it 1.2 C.
That can't explain, Scotty.
Yeah. No, food replicators are working and everything. I had a bowl of ice cream, coconut and chocolate.
I had pistachio, and I also had a reconstituted turkey.
Yes, that's right. And the guy said, "Do you want to have another bowl?" And I said, "One more time."
And then Jay said, "Bowl," and perked up and tuned into the podcast.
All right, there we go. So we're getting a little off it, but that's fine because this is where the book kind of gets off it. So that's right. So they try to beam up and it fails, and the Spock says the force is here. It fails. And Spock has become lobotomized, trying to become one with the force. Yeah, I said it. He's trying to become one with the force.
So that's chapter 19. Now in chapter 20, how does he respond to Spock going mad? He mopes and then digs for compliments from Gilla. What? I
need somebody to make me feel better. Can you just tell me I'm handsome, Gilla? tell me I'm a sharp dresser, Gilla. Tell me I look like early season Kirk and not late season Kirk. You know what I mean? Gilla, that would really help if you could tell me that I look trim and fit in my uniform, Gilla. Can you tell me that? Yeah, but luckily she's there for him.
Gilla, when you talk to Gilla in Manila.
Gilla says he's a kaleidoscope. I was like, man, if I had a nickel for every time somebody said Kirk's a kaleidoscope, God, I'd be a rich man. So I don't know what that means, but it's something. I guess it's something, that a sensory artist would say. So there's that, right? It's like you're a kaleidoscope. You just have to rotate you of like 5 degrees and you look completely different. Yeah. And then at some point, all the little, gemstones click into place and it makes a new pattern. And I don't know. I'm losing myself in the metaphor.
I think if Kirk would have Carl Urban Dictionary, that he would know that kaleidoscope means creep.
Oh, can we talk about the Urban Dictionary? We heard Penny Lane by the Beatles on the radio the other day, and I was like, you know what? Damn it! I'm going to finally look up and figure out what a fish and finger pie is. Don't look that up. I'm like, maybe it'll be a cool recipe. We can make fish and finger pie for dinner, I'm telling myself. And then I look it up. It's not. There's 2 different things. 4 of fish, and finger pie. 4 of fish means you're going to go 4 pence of fish and chips, and they put it in a little cone of paper, and you eat that as you're walking around. Finger pie means exactly what you think it means. Why? And it's like McCartney was like, I can't believe we're going to pass the census. I was so impressed. And I was like, holy shit, my whole life has been turned upside down. Yeah, that's why you don't Carl Urban Dictionary anything when your wife's in the room. Because if you announce it, I'm going to look up and see what that is. And she's like, well, what is it? I was like, I'd rather not say.
I hope you delete your search history every so often, Butch.
I'm a smart man, Rob. Don't worry about me. Yeah, the sad thing is I was using the work computer when I Googled it too. That's a sad thing. So anyway, all right. So yeah, Spock is in trouble, and Kirk's a kaleidoscope, and also he's Captain Bligh. And hey, is that Lulu, the piker over there? That must mean Bates is back for some reason. We must be getting close to the big action sequence to end this movie.
Yes.
Or is it big? Might be an exaggeration, I guess. All right, so Bates has got a deal. He's decided he wants out of this 3-horse town, and he wants the Enterprise to take him off there. And Kirk's like, yeah, if you can help, I'll commit to making a deal where I will get you off of this place.
That's bizarre. They're hell-bent on you have to get Kel out because you can't have a person on the planet. But the person who's on the planet who wants to go, you're like, well, I don't know. It's a little bit of a nuisance.
Well, in his defense, the guy who's there was one of the guys who went there when it was legal to go there. So, yeah, I guess he's the guy who didn't breaking the law when he went there. He's the guy who went there when it was still legal. But still, it's weird. It's like, yeah, we're taking you with it. Why wouldn't we take you with us? You and your walking carpet, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, no reward's worth this much pain and effort. All right, so, yeah, sorry, I've got the walking carpet in my head again. Yeah, so listen, where we're at right now is the secret, apparently, he tells, Bates is telling him, look, the secret isn't in the Danons, it's in the village tower.
Well, he tells the cool history of the
Yeah,
Danons.
you tell me, tell it to me.
Well, it's, I took extensive notes on this, so it is one whole sentence. But the Danons had a 1,000-year war with some slugs.
Oh, I did forget the
Sorgas.
slugs. That's right. Yes.
Yeah, and then in the, I'll give you the tower part. Well, I'll let you do the tower. I don't want to steal your thunder.
I am the god of thunder. So that's the thing is this tower is like the weapon or the defense system, the Ultron, as it were, the Star Wars Defense Initiative that they built to fend off space slugs. Yeah, if this is not feeling uncomfortable yet, it should be feeling uncomfortable at this point. So, yeah, space slugs, they've got to figure out how to fend them off. And so they built this thing. And now, of course, the Danons use it like as a mental, they collectively use their mental power that's augmented by this thing to do stuff. It makes them powerful, but there's
supercomputer.
Yeah, it's the size of the planet. Essentially, the whole interior of the planet is a supercomputer, and the terminal, the keyboard, the login station is essentially the tower. Maybe that's why it's shaped like a Y.
Yeah,
why? Because I love you. OUSE. Yes.
And I wrote in my notes, how are they going to destroy it? I'm guessing Shang.
Yeah. Yeah, because we have to have a redemption arc, right? And the last time we saw Shang, he was falling asleep on duty.
Yeah, it was half an hour ago. Yeah, and so now the Danons worship this computer of theirs. We've seen that many times.
Yeah.
Or a few times anyway. So.
Yeah, so Bates says they ought to destroy it, and it's like, hey, you don't happen to be like the commander of that black freighter of death, do you? Because, yeah, that's what we need right now is a black freighter of death. And Kirk's like, hey, hold my beer. But the problem is he's going to go mono a machino. And then Kel tells him that the machine abandoned him, right? He was the guy who was going to live forever because he's connected to the machine or whatever. And now he's the leader of the Danons, except it's abandoned him. And Kirk's like, oh no, well, he doesn't have time to worry about that because he's got to find Gilla. And so he eventually walks through a very long and complicated discussion. They could just say he walks through a few tunnels but instead it's like another fucking bear story of him walking through tunnels. And then he finally gets to a room, and there on the chair you're not supposed to sit in, Gilla's sitting on the chair. You're like, Gilla, quick, get off the chair. She's like, no, I've been chosen.
I'm a senso artist also.
Yeah, exactly. And so, yeah.
But Gilla, I can't live without you.
Yes. I don't want to live without your love. I don't want to face. I'm sorry. Yeah. So that's Chicago from '89, not '79. So I should have gone there. I'm sorry. But yeah. So the problem is the Danons do her will, and they're like, look, you can't stay. This is where I belong. So these guys are going to escort you out, or, alternatively, they're going to chew you into a million little pieces. I don't know.
Wait, can I do my Gilla impression?
Oh, yeah. It would be great if you would, yeah.
Jim, I want this. As much as you wanted the Enterprise, I want this.
Yes! Yes, that is exactly what it is. Thank you. That's correct. And again, because it's like 1 month before that movie comes out, it's all the more correct because of that. That's right. So, so these monsters are they're chewing on his fingers at some point. The Danons are chewing on his fingers, and then all of a sudden, zip, zip, zap, zippity, zip, zap, phasers get all the Danons off him. I'm imagining it's like R2-D2 zapping the Ewoks with the little electrical bolts, and they kind of go, ow! And then they jump away, and then zap, ow! And then they jump away. That's how I'm imagining that scene goes down. And then Kirk looks up, and he's like, well, thank God Spock's better. And no, it's not Spock. Well, I know it's not Doyle, so maybe Mosley. No, it's not Mosley. Who the hell just rescued? It's Albert, our good buddy, the son of the Commodore, Albert Schweitzer. Whatever the fuck his name is, I've already forgotten. Albert Shang, that's right. He has rescued him with a phaser, by the way. If there's more of that's a very standard action movie beat, right? Where it's like the guy who's like the milquetoast is the guy who comes in and rescues the hero at the end.
And we kind of glossed over Shang's earlier stuff on the Enterprise. He was screwing up being a waiter. He wasn't saluting.
But I don't want to clean up the room after you guys go. And by the way, Kirk's a bit of a dick. He's like, I'm making you clean up my quarters for a reason because it'll make you. That's the same bullshit I told my kids. I'm not making you clean up because I don't want to clean up. I'm making you clean up because it's going to help your personal growth.
Yeah,
that's why I'm not unloading the dishwasher and you're doing it because your personal growth depends on it.
Well, and now we know why Kirk is such a great mentor to people. I'm talking to you, Charlie X. I'm talking to lots of people. Yep. Is because look at the effect on Albert. He's kicking ass. He's RoboCop.
Yeah, he's like, you're a move, creep. Totally. He phasered the crap out of those guys, and they deserved it. But again, all right, so now they're back on the Enterprise, and I guess because Gil is now running the show, Spock's fine. I don't know why Spock's fine. Did they explain why Spock's fine now?
Oh, I have an explanation. It's because it's the last chapter.
Yeah, so I was like, I'm not even sure they did say he is fine. I think I only remember him talking to McCoy. He's recovering. That's right.
He's recovering. Kel's recovering. Kirk's moping.
Yeah, moping.
Yeah, and Shang is made part of the crew by Kirk. All's well. Uhura's got her mind back. Oh wait, that's.
Yeah, I was gonna say Spock comes over and puts his hand on Kirk's sleeping shoulder, says "forget" or something like that. Nah, not exactly right. Yeah, well, but Spock, she turned into a robot just like that other girl did. Yeah, no, the other girl already was a robot, but that's the thing. So it does end with a little bit of a scene, I guess, and so yeah, it does end with a bit of a whimper, and I did think it was a weird and awkward kind of ending. It's a nice setup, but it's a weird ending. I don't think it ruined anything. It didn't like shit the bed or anything, but it wasn't like anything spectacular or cool or anything like that. So that's what I have in terms of my final notes on that subject. I don't know what your final thoughts are on how the book landed.
I thought it, it felt like another one of those. We've had a few of these. Hey, you're about done with that novel, right? Deadline's tomorrow. Yeah, you bet. It's done. I've sitting here. Shit.
Yeah, it's 220 pages, right? And you're like, oh, no, it came a little shorter than that. Yeah.
Hold on, I'm I'll call up my good buddy Gene Simmons for help. I'll just repeat the chorus 8 times. It's good. It's fine. Yeah. It was. It felt like a rush job at the end there, but
rush. If it was a rush job, it would be like 8.5 minutes long, and they'd focus a lot more on the freaking piker. They'd have been singing like 3 more verses about the piker if it was a rush job, and then they'd have the drum solo and all that bullshit. So
it would be well done.
Yeah, that's fair. It would definitely be tighter. All right, so final thoughts are: I thought it was an interesting setup, but it did feel awful familiar. And then it had an ending that it was like, yeah, it's like I get there was some so poetic because we learned that Gilla was gonna die of something, and so she gave her life. By giving her life to this cause, she gets her life back and gets immortality and stuff like that. It's like, but yeah, I get whether her dad would want to live a solo life, but I don't know why Gilla would want to live a solo life. But it doesn't. She had Captain Kirk right there. So this is a girl that very defiantly said hell no to James T. Kirk. So maybe that's something to be said about her for that, right?
Yeah. I'm distracted because I'm placing it where I think it goes.
All right. Well, let's get.
And we're not doing a consensus. Not the way we're doing these. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, right? We each have our own lists. That's right. So why don't we do that?
But I will say, to sum it up, I thought it was fun the first half, and part of that was probably it benefiting from, hey, this is not a Phoenix book.
Yeah.
So it felt like a breath of fresh air. I'm grinning while I read it. I'm like, yeah. But it had a lot of stuff that was brought up and never tied into anything. The whole Shang thing was kind of stupid. Fun, but then he just was left out of half the book.
Yeah.
and then the ending was real generic, and rushed. Like I said, the big finale's a handful of pages.
I will say this, man. If there's one thing that our villain question mark, I'm not sure if villain was the right word. Our bad guy, Jacob Kell. If there was one motive he lived by, it was he will choose free will. So, I guess that's true. So,
how do you have it ranked?
All right, well, I'm going to give them to you from 11, and I'm going to count down from 11 to 1. Okay, so at 11, I know I'm different than you. I have Trek to Mad World at 11. It's just too dumb. The Great Gazoo, I just couldn't handle. Price of the Phoenix at 10. Fate of the Phoenix, a step up, but not a huge step up at 9. Spock Messiah at 8. Planet of Judgment, which this felt a lot like several times, at 7. Then I have this. Then I have this one at 6. Is where I had this one landed and then right before this one was Spock Must Die at 5. The Starless World at 4. That's the other Gordon Eklund one. So this ended up 2 spots below that. World Without End at 3. Mission to Horatius at 2, and exclamation point Vulcan at number 1.
Yeah, we're not wildly different here. I've got the Price of the Phoenix at 11. The Fate of the Phoenix, I agree with you, is hair better at 10. Trek to Mad World, which I give extra points because it was the first Star Trek novel I ever read.
Oh, that's true, yeah. You always remember your first.
That's right, at 9.
Although my first is entropy effect, so I win. So
that's KO1, Butch KO1. Not even there's no comparison between the quality of that book and Trek to Mad World.
That's right.
The entropy effect is great. Dark.
Yes.
I hope we do. The dice will decide.
That's right.
It's the fate of the I don't know.
Fate of the Phantom.
Where was that? Spock Must Die.
You were at number 9, and then what do you have at 8?
Spock Must Die! Exclamation
Spock
point.
Must Die. Okay. Yes.
Number 7, I agree with you. Planet of Judgment. Number 6, I have Spock Messiah! Exclamation point. I stuck Devil World at 5, just because I think I like the breeziness of it, and it isn't off the rails bananas like Spock Messiah was. I mean, that was fun, but it was a little overboard. So I've got it above Spock Messiah. I've got Starless World at 4, like you do.
Yep.
I have Mission to Horatius at 3.
Oh, interesting.
By a smidge. For some reason, I have World Without End ahead of it. But I agree that Vulcan exclamation point is number 1.
Yeah, we don't have a lot of Bantam left that has a chance to knock Vulcan exclamation point off either. So it's interesting. We're running out of runway, as it were. So
yeah,
that's doing it for this week. I'm sorry, I should go back in character.
That will complete our episode this week of the Star Trek Reader, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, so that was cool doing this one. We've just got a couple left. Next up is maybe the shortest of all the Bantam Star Trek novels. I think the next one comes in at 131 pages or something like that.
And they took note of the fact that you're getting tired of all the worlds. So
yeah.
we have
a planet finally. Thank God. Perry's Planet. And boy, I'm telling you what, it's going to feel familiar. So, yeah, holy cow. You can definitely tell that the guys writing these kind of had similar story ideas, because yowza. All right, so that's going to do it for us this week on the Journeys to Bantam. Like I said, we just got a few more left. Rob, have we told the folks what we're doing after this? After we do this, we're going to take the first 50 pocket novels. Those are the ones that we were really investing in high school. I know we both still have a lot of them. I don't have nearly all of them anymore, but I have a good chunk of them. I probably have like 20 of them still. Yeah. And so we're going to take the first 50, and we're going to do what we've been doing with the boxing matches. We're going to roll the dice, pick a novel, read the novel, review the novel, roll the dice for the next novel. That's what we're going to do. So
it worked so good on our boxing that we had to...
The difference is we're going to get through the boxing ones in about 4 months, 5 months tops, and it's going to take us the rest of our lifetimes to get through the Star Trek novels. But that's okay. We got what's the word I'm looking for? All the time in the world. So
That's not good. Yeah, that's
all the time in the world without end. It's all good. So
we have all the time in the world. Yeah, it's going to be fun. Luckily, summer will be coming, and then I will actually do some reading.
Yeah. Well, for me, my last 2 meeting day for the 2022 legislative session is tomorrow. So my last meeting of the House Vets Committee is tomorrow, and then I have one more meeting of Joint Transportation, and my session is essentially over. So I'm looking forward to being able to not have hair on fire with work distracting me. So that means, work has been so much that I couldn't even do stuff in the evenings. But now I can dedicate myself more to our craft and to you, our famous listeners. So tune in next time as we journey to Bantam, ladies and gentlemen.